Because I've spent my entire life with a visual impairment, there are many things in life that I've never been able to experience. I couldn't really get into sports as a kid, and getting my temps at 15 was completely off the table, and let's just say that when it comes to hide and seek, my win-loss record is pretty abysmal. And yet, I remain grateful for the things that I do get to experience in life. And among those things, few give me more joy than video games. I love playing video games and I don't care who knows it. My life could be chronicled by what game I was playing at the time, and I'm completely fine with that, because video games have given me some of the greatest experiences in my life. Through video games, I've found YouTube. I've met great people, built great friendships. Video games have gotten me through a lot of hard stuff too. I've made a lot of great memories playing video games. So you can imagine how I feel when I see people post crap like this. So for those of you that would dare say that you can't make memories playing video games, or that video games are a waste of time, or people that play video games have no lives, I'm going to prove you wrong. Because I'm going to give you 10 of my cherished memories playing video games. When I was a kid, there was a time where my mom and I lived with my uncle, my cousins, and my mom's boyfriend. Now, my uncle, his son, and my mom's boyfriend and I used to play Tecmo Super Bowl together all the time. And I wasn't into football, and I was terrible at this game at first. But the game actually got me into football for a little while, and I got better at it. So we used to play seasons together all the time, and I never even made it close to the end. I used to have to pick 2 or 3 teams just to have an extra chance at getting that far. Well, I finally found my dream team. It was the Los Angeles Raiders. I was running Bo Jackson into that end zone like crazy. Well, the Raiders got me to the Super Bowl, and it was me versus my uncle for the championship, and he was the best at that game. So I was really nervous, and he was so confident, he bet me, little kid, $5 if I could beat him. So, took him on. Now, I didn't care about the $5 so much as beating him, so I took him on. I got so nervous, I started shaking, and we were laughing because of how nervous I was. But guess what? I beat him. I won the Super Bowl, I got my $5, and most importantly, that day, I became a man. In high school, I was known pretty well for being a goody two-shoes. Like, I never broke any rules and I always did what I was told. So if people are looking for evidence that video games are a bad influence, I guess this is the closest you're going to get for me. My friends and I were big fans of Halo, and back then, you used to have to link up your Xboxes to play with more than 4 people. We used to spend all-nighters playing that game, so we were pretty amped up for Halo 2. When Halo 2 was finally released, I hatched a little scheme. I told my mom that I was going to ride to school with my friend, and I snuck my Xbox in my book bag. Well, we didn't go to school that day. We went to GameStop, and we bought our copies of Halo 2, went straight to my friend's house, and spent all day playing Halo 2 with all the friends. And you know what the funniest part of all is? I still don't think my mom knows. I remember a time where, dead serious, I think my entire family was playing Diablo 2. Like, no joke, we used to sit lined up in the living room with our laptops playing that game. It was insane. But the memory that sticks out the most for me was the time I spent an entire week with my cousin playing Diablo 2 non-stop. And when I say non-stop, I don't mean we ran bots non-stop. I mean, we no showers, ate while we played, slept 3 hours a night, played the crap out of that game. It was crack and we were addicts. And it was amazing. We had so much fun non-stopping that game. It was probably the longest game binge I've ever had. And part of what makes it so much fun, kind of the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, if you will, is how it ended. We were going for the Pandemonium event, better known as the Uber event. Now, if you don't know, there are 3 bosses in Diablo 2 that drop keys, with a small percentage chance to drop them. You have to get all 3 keys, use them, you go into a portal, fight a boss, you get an organ. Then you have to get all the keys a second time, create a new portal, Fight another boss, get a second organ. One more time with the keys, third portal, third organ. With the 3 organs, you create a new portal, and you go in and you fight really difficult versions of the main 3 bosses in the game, Diablo, Baal, and Mephisto. So it's extremely time consuming to get all these keys and all these organs. We did it. Took a while. We go in the portal to fight the Ubers. Guess what? Game crashes. We lost all of our progress. We lost everything. We lost the organs. We lost the keys. We lost the portal. We didn't kill them. We got screwed over. And we rage quit. And we didn't talk about or mention the game again for like 3 years. Screw you, Diablo II. So, one of my uncles in particular seemed to have every single PlayStation game under the sun. Mainly because he had a modded PlayStation and burned every single game. Just kidding, I plead the fifth. So I loved going and hanging out at his house because I could play any game I wanted to. And one time I found a particular game called Metal Gear Solid, and to no surprise to anyone, I was hooked on the game instantly. What followed was an all-nighter where I played through the entire game in one sitting. 12 hours, you guys. 12 hours. I love that game, and what was particularly cool about the first time through is I had my uncle there with me to keep an eye on the radar because I have no peripheral vision and it was really hard for me at the time to know what the heck I was doing, so I kind of had a little bit of like a seeing eye uncle being my intel guy, and I have loved the Metal Gear franchise ever since. Without the risk of getting too personal, let's just say that I don't have a lot of fond memories of my old man, but one of the few memories I have of him is pretty awesome. I was probably 6 years old, and it was one of the few weekends I spent with my dad. I used to take my Nintendo with me everywhere, and one of the games we liked to play was Contra. It was a really hard game, especially for me being 6 years old. I probably frustrated my dad a lot, especially on the jumpy level. But one night, we got really far, and it was getting really late. It must have been after midnight. We were on the final level, and it was really freaky. I remember being kind of scared, but I was with my dad, and we actually beat the game. And Contra was actually the first game I ever beat, and I did it with my dad. Considering my dad hasn't been much a part of my life, it's one of the few memories I have of him, and it's one of my favorite memories. For some reason, it's always stuck with me. I think about it a lot. When I was in middle school, Pokemon was all the rage. Actually, it still kind of is, but back then, I didn't even know what it was. So I felt like a big lame-o when all my friends had Game Boy Colors and either Pokemon Red or Blue. So I went to the one person that I knew could change this, my grandpa. And for my birthday that year, I asked for a Game Boy Color and one of the Pokemon games. And because my grandpa is awesome, he got me Pokemon Yellow. For the rest of that school year, I lived and breathed Pokemon, and me and Pikachu went straight to the top, took on the Elite Four, and became the champion. We even took on the 3 legendary birds, captured them, took on Mewtwo, captured him, and there was only one challenge left, defeat all the trainers at my middle school. Well, one of the kids had a link cable, and we had ourselves a little tournament, and guess who won? I don't even care that I got made fun of by all the other jocks. I was champ. World of Warcraft is certainly the game I am most known for playing, which is fine because it's one of my favorites. Big reason why is because I've been fortunate to be part of such an amazing game community known as AIE, which is full of some of the most amazing people that I've ever met. And amazing people are often capable of doing some pretty amazing things. Well, amazing or amazingly trolly, depending on which side you were, but I digress. Our guild had been planning a pretty big event for Black Friday, and we let as many people in the guild and on the server know as much as possible. This is back when there weren't any cross-realm servers and all that kind of stuff, so everybody that was involved was on the Earthen Ring server. Well, we got as many people together as we could, and we had so many raid teams that we honestly almost crashed the servers doing this, but we coordinated an attack on all of the Alliance capitals at the same time. We sent different raid teams to different capitals, the largest being, of course, to Stormwind and then Ironforge, but we even got Exodar, man. We occupied the cities for a really long time. Auction houses and banks weren't available for over an hour. It was delightfully evil. Skyrim still feels like a brand new game to me, and it's been out for over 5 years. In my mind, it's one of the best single-player games out there. It's the kind of game that can really suck you in and make you feel like you're living in that world. And the unpredictable nature of that world is what makes it so exciting. I will never forget in my first playthrough, I was doing a particular quest line. I can't remember which one it was at the time, but it led to a pretty epic battle against a really hard enemy. This fight seemed to go on forever, and it took every single health potion and every ounce of magic I had to keep myself alive long enough to win the fight. But as the fight came to an end, I didn't even get a chance to breathe before I heard this music. Those of you who played this game know the excitement you feel when you hear that music and a dragon shows up and you know you're in for a fight. But after having just been through a fight and having that oh crap moment when the music played, followed by the adrenaline rush of knowing that I'm ready to take on this dragon, was an experience of a lifetime. Those moments that bring out those feelings of excitement are why I play video games. And the best games always manage to bring them out. So I have this really cool friend, one of my best friends actually. His name's John. Now John and I have played through a lot of games together. We played through Dying Light, we played through The Last of Us, and most recently we played through Resident Evil 7. But none of those were as scary as the time we played through Ori and the Blind Forest.
That game's not scary.
Shut up, John. Ori and the Blind Forest is an amazing game. It's emotional, it's beautiful, and it's a lot of fun. And those of you who have played it, you get it. It's probably one of my favorite games ever. And I think part of that is because I played it with my friend. It's the experience we had playing through it together that I cherish the most. It was certainly the most unique game that we ever played through together, and even though it's a single-player game, we had just as much fun passing the controller back and forth and experiencing the game together. Now, this experience itself isn't all that unique, but it's a fine representation of all the memories I've had, not just with John, but with all of my friends, playing video games with them. And I'm sure many of you can relate to this as well. Video games have allowed me to connect with other people, many of whom I've met through video games. And there are a few experiences I cherish greater than playing video games with my friends. I've said before that Ocarina of Time is one of the best games I've ever played, and I think a lot of people will agree with me, but I've never really explained why I think it's one of the best games I've ever played. Mainly because I'll never forget my first time playing it. I remember opening the game Christmas Day, and I was insanely excited. But I left the game at home, and I left with my mom and my baby sister to spend the holidays with family. Now, at the time, my baby sister was about 10 months old, and I was about 12. We spent the next couple days together. Didn't realize at the time that it would be the last couple days I spent with my sister, because a couple days after Christmas that year, my baby sister passed away unexpectedly. Eventually, I would come home, and we had a pretty big snowstorm that year, so I got an extra week of Christmas break. I was home by myself a lot during that time. My mom was coping with the loss by being around people, and I found a different way to cope. Sitting there, I saw my copy of Ocarina of Time, and I put it in my N64, and I just started playing. And that game reintroduced a sense of joy and color and imagination like only a Zelda game can. Playing through that game, it wasn't about running away or escaping the grief. It was about allowing myself to experience some happiness, some joy, and enjoy life again. And Ocarina of Time did that for me. It allowed me to grieve in a healthy way. It allowed me to move forward. See, just as the memories of my sister give me joy and comfort, my memories playing games also give me joy and comfort. And to this day, no matter how good or bad things are, sometimes I just take a breath, pop in a game, and enjoy life for a little while. And for me, that's a big part of what video games are all about. And those are just some of the memories I've had playing video games. I've got a lot more, and I plan to make even more. So you do whatever you want to do. Do what makes you happy. Doesn't really matter to me, because I'll be where I've always been, having the time of my life, because I'm a gamer. Not because I don't have a life, but because I've chosen to have many. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that like button. Perhaps you'd like to inform your friends by sharing it with them. And don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see future videos on this channel. Thanks for watching, have a wonderful day, this is TheKephas, until next time.